Morning, everybody. Hello. My name's Seven. It's great to be here. I've honoured and privileged to be back. I feel I've been here quite a few times now. So Steve says I'm all the way from Colchester. So I feel like an honoured member of the Forge family. Maybe like an Essex cousin. Like in the Forge family, but with like more fake tan and can't pronounce the T's or something like that. I don't know. But it's lovely to be here. It's wonderful to be here, continuing your series on the good life. So just while I get my notes settled, tell the person next to you or put in the comments if you're watching online, what was the best speech you ever heard? The best speech you ever heard? Go on, share with the person next to you. Put it in the comments. Best speech. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. I hope you've heard some good ones. I've always been fascinated by speeches. Always loved it, like power of oration, people standing up and telling stories and creating change. I remember I was at secondary school. I won a prize. I think I was in maybe year 7 or year 8 or something. I won a prize. My ever-supportive father called it Creep of the Year Award, which I thought was a bit mean. Anyway, I got to choose a book. So I got a book and everyone clapped, so I collected it on stage. I chose this one, Speech That Changed the World, because I've always been fascinated by speeches. And so I bought this book and I was reading through it, and it's no surprise that right towards the start of this, one of the most powerful speeches ever given, one of the most powerful sermons ever given, is this one that you've been studying by Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus gives his, what I might call, his manifesto for living. His manifesto for living. I mean, there's all kinds of manifestos, aren't there? I don't know if you're into politics. I'm not particularly interested, but I know that I'm told it's party conference season. Did you know that? Sounds like terrible parties to be invited to. Sound awful. But anyway, I know that these party conferences, there's a lot of standing ovations and people cheering, a lot of speeches, and they're talking about manifestos. Like, here's some of them. They're talking about manifestos. Because what we've got is a lot of different people with lots of views on how the country should be run, so they've all got manifestos. But here's the thing about manifestos. Only one of them gets to be manifested. What I mean is they've all got ideas about what should happen, but only one of them gets picked. So you can have all the manifestos you like, but only one of them actually comes to fruition. Now, that's true of our country, but it's also true of your life. Maybe you're coming this morning, and everyone's got an idea about how you should live your life. You've got family members saying, oh, you should do this. You've got friends who are like, oh, you should do this. You've got influencers telling you to don't eat that, eat this pill. You know what I mean? You've got lots of people with ideas on what you should do with your life. And all these manifestos coming at you and a lot of noise. But you pick. Because only one of them gets manifested. Only one of them happens. It's your choice to pick. And Jesus comes out. This is his manifesto. This is his speech. This is his sermon. This is how he says you want to live a good life. Well, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. My prayer and my hope is that as you as a church look at this sermon, that it kind of gets under your skin a bit. It makes you think that you choose to manifest. You choose to put into practice what Jesus says. That's my hope and my prayer. Maybe not from the bit I'm talking about this morning, maybe. But maybe as you read through Jesus' sermon, you think, yeah, I want to put that into practice. Because, I mean, it's hard to preach on this. I'm not going to lie, it's a hard one to preach on. Because I don't know what your expectations are this morning. Let me be very clear. I'm not out preaching Jesus. No, I'm not. I'm not giving you a better sermon than he's given you already, okay? So we can all clear, we're all on the same page, right? We all know that. Good. I'm not out preaching Jesus, and we're not going to pretend to. Because the thing about the Sermon on the Mount is, it's quite easy to understand. It's just very hard to live. Like someone who wasn't a Christian came to a Christian lady and was like, are you not challenged by all the bits of the Bible you don't understand? Does that not challenge you? She's like, no. It's the bits I do understand that challenge me. They're the bits that are challenging. Like, I know what the phrase love your enemies means. I know what it means. I just can't do it. Okay? My hope and my prayer is that something about Jesus' manifesto for living, something about his sermon, something about his call to a good life, a blessed life, a purposeful life, something about that gets under your skin. Not so you understand it academically, but you get to live it passionately. That is my hope and my prayer for you. we pick up the sermon when Jesus is talking about prayer. And Jesus says, when you pray, don't use loads of long, complicated words, which is good for people like me. Don't use lots of long, complicated words. Don't babble on for ages, which you'll be relieved to hear. Big kickoff at 12 o'clock, I'm aware, in these parts. Some of you need to do some serious prayer and intercession before that as well, so don't worry, I'll keep to time. He says, don't babble on for ages. He says this is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we've forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Our Father. Let's get open to that. Our Father. Our Father. It's a good word because it reminds us. It reminds us that this prayer is about fundamentally connection. Jesus says, don't use loads of words. Just pray this. It's simple. Just our Father. Have you noticed that the more you love someone, the fewer words you need? The deeper the relationship, the more you know someone, you don't need as many words. I've got a friend at school. Oh, we should say I'm a teacher, by the way. So when I say I've got a friend at school, I'm allowed to be there. Also, my friend is also another teacher, by the way, this could have gone right. So I've got a friend who's also another teacher at school. Okay, so I've got a friend at school. I remember, you used to hang out a bit in the staff room sometimes, but the trouble with the staff room is you don't want to get sat there by yourself because that's awkward, and you also don't want to be there with a load of boring people because that's boring. So you try and find a way to be like, oh, are you going to come to the staff room at lunchtime and we'll have a chat or whatever? That's a lot of, but as you get to know people more, you don't need as many words, do you? So just walk past his classroom just before lunch and be like, tea? And then we knew what that meant. Because the more you know someone, the deeper the relationship, the fewer words you need. Jesus says, when you pray, pray our Father. Why? Because we spend a lot of our time thinking about the rubbish that surrounds us. But we need to remember that there's a connection. There's a connection with each other. It's our Father. It's not just my version of God, it's our Father. We come together on a day like today and we sing our songs and we remind ourselves of what unites us. We say it's our Father, and we say Father. Some have said that word Father, it's a bit like daddy. It's like the first words that you say as you're learning who your father is as you're a baby. It's very intimate. Jesus says, when you pray, take your mind's eye and remind yourself, stop long enough to remind yourself of the connection you have got with God, your Father. Ensure your identity is in the fact you are a daughter or a son of a God who loves you. Say, our Father. There's a deep connection there. Our Father who is in heaven. Our Father in heaven. I did some research for today because I was like, I'm coming to the forge, so I've got to look up the Greek. Most of you don't care, but it would impress Steve, so I thought I'd do that. So I look up the Greek. Now, I looked up the Greek, and I love this. Our Father in heaven. I mean, I can't read Greek, so this is like what Google's told me. All right, Ben. Anyway. Looked up our Father in heaven. That word heaven, you can think of it as like heaven up there. I think that's good to do sometimes, isn't it? So often we get caught up in the rubbish that's in our immediate. Sometimes we've got to look up. We've got our Father in heaven. Take our minds out. We've got to focus our attention on the good stuff up there. We've got to remind ourselves about the beauty, about a God who is more loving than us, a God who is above us, a hope and a peace and a presence that is higher than we are, our Father in heaven, up there. I think that's a good thing to do. Focus our minds on the beautiful and the hopeful and the good and the loving. But apparently that word, you can translate it like heaven up there. But apparently you can also translate it as air, which I didn't know until this week. Our Father in the air. As one writer put it, our God who is as close to us as the air that we breathe. Our Father in heaven. Our Father in the air. Because we have a God who is up there, who shows us what life should be like, the good and the beautiful and the noble, who brings our eyes up to heaven and say, that's what we're aiming for. But we also worship a God who's very close. A God who we could put it as close to you as the air that you breathe. A God who has come down. A God who knows what it's like to feel what you're going through. A God who can look you in the eye. A God who is close. Our Father in the air, who is as close to me as the air that I breathe, as we choose to stop and focus on this relationship we have with a loving God. And I need to speed up because I've only done 4 words and there's a lot more to this prayer. Our Father in heaven. I will speed up, I promise. Some of you are already extrapolating how long it's taken me to get to this point and are worried about kickoff. No, we're going to move on. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Hallowed be your name. Maybe it's because I've just learned about the air thing. But that phrase, hallowed be your name, it brought to mind something I'm sure I've shared before at the Forge. Something that I love to talk about, the fact that hallowed be your name. So that means give glory to the name of God. That's what hallowed means. Honor the name. Give glory to the name. Honor the name. Give worth to the name. Honor the name. One of the ancient names for God sounds a lot like breath. Sounds a lot like breath. The first thing you do when you're born, the last thing you do before you die, is in some sense communicate with God. In some sense, it's to speak his name. Now, for some of you, it was hard work getting up that slope this morning, but you've still got breath. In fact, that's all I know about you all this morning. I don't know about your past or your present or your history, but I do know you've got breath, which means I know you speak the name of God. That's all I know about you. That God's given you that breath. Honor the name. Hallowed be your name. Can we ask it another way? What are you doing with your breath? What are you doing with your breath? Are you using the breath in your lungs and the life that you've been given? Are you using it? Are you using it for good? Using it to bring hope and life? Are you speaking generous words? There's a great story in the start of the Bible about how God makes humans. He takes some dirt, some dust, and then he breathes on it. So I guess in a sense, we're all holy dirt. And you should call people that as well, maybe this week. So those you love. You're looking good today for holy dirt. Maybe just open with that, see what happens. In a sense, we're all holy dirt. In a sense, we're all holy dirt. In a sense, we're all dirt, but we've all been given the breath. We've all been given the breath. In some sense, we're all speaking the name of God, that hallowed be your name. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with your breath? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with the words that you say? I guess the opposite of honoring the name is to profane the name. To profane means to take what is beautiful and holy and treat it like common rubbish. Don't profane the name. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. To use another bit of the Old Testament, don't take the Lord's name in vain. Don't misuse the breath you have been given. The name of God that you speak, honor his name. Use your breath. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. As I was thinking through this prayer, and I enjoy how it kind of links together as I pray through it, as I think about what I'm using my breath for, I can't help but think, like, maybe it's just me who's guilty of this, but I spend a lot of my time and energy and breath kind of trying to build my own little kingdom. Like, try and make sure everything works out for me. I try and get people to act the way I want them to act as I manage a team. I try and ensure that I've got my little security and safety and comfort. I try and get people to make decisions that kind of help me out. I try and build my own kingdom. And I don't think that's a great idea. I think it can make you quite, like, prideful. And I think God has a sense of humor. I think God sometimes uses things in our life just to remind us we're not as in control as we like to think we are. And God has ways of doing that with all of us. For me, the way God teaches me that lesson is with children, specifically my children. Because every now and then I think I've got it all under control. And I've built my own little kingdom, and then God's like, do you? And then my children will do something just to remind me I have not got this thing locked down. I've got so many stories I could tell you about moments where I've realized I'm not in control. I'm going to tell you one. My daughter has just turned 2, so we're celebrating her birthday. She's not celebrating, she doesn't care. She's 2 years old. But because she's 2, we have to get all the presents ready. I don't know why we buy her presents. She doesn't care. But anyway, we've got to buy her presents. We've got to make the room look nice. I don't know why. She's only going to wreck it. But anyway, we've got to make the room look nice. Got to get all the decorations up. My son, his brain works in interesting ways. Let's put it like that. Anyway, my son comes out. He's like, Dad, can I blow up some balloons for my little sister's birthday? I'm like, yes. You can do balloons for your sister's birthday. What a lovely idea. Off you go. There's the balloons. I'm like, this is great. Everyone doing what I want them to do, delegating tasks. Son's like, right, I'll go do the balloons. And he comes back 5 minutes later, and he's like, Dad, the balloons exploded. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, that's no problem, is it? Like, he's blown it up too much, whatever. He's like, the balloons exploded. I say, no problem, we'll just put it in the bin. Okay. He's like, no, there's water everywhere. And I go upstairs. My next words are, why on earth are you doing water balloons? Why? Why has he done that? I don't know. But what I'm saying is I'm not in control. And this is how God teaches me these lessons, as the water is everywhere. The bathroom is nearly flooded. Because so often I spend my energy trying to build my own little kingdom. But I'm not in control. I'm not in control of my kids all the time. I'm not in control of them most of the time. I'm not even sure I'm in control of them any of the time, actually. But at some point, I throw my hands in the air. I say, your kingdom come. Your will be done. I can't carry the weight of trying to make it all work the way I want it to work anymore. I can't carry that weight. It's a heavy weight to carry. I can't carry that weight of trying to force other people to do what I want them to do. I say, God, your will be done. Your kingdom come. And let me tell you, at first that feels a difficult thing to say. Then you realize it's so liberating. It's so liberating to not have to spend your whole life working for what you want from selfish motives, but instead say, Jesus, your kingdom come. I'm going to do what you want me to do. I'm going to strive for your peace and your love and your presence on this earth. I'm going to push to drag heaven down to earth where I can. And the places on earth that look most like hell, they're the places I want to drag heaven most of all. I'm going to say, Jesus, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as I choose to take my breath and my strength and not try and build my own little kingdom on sand, but instead build his kingdom on the rock of his presence. Jesus, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And if we're going to do that, we're going to need some bread. Give us this day our daily bread. When I was a teenager, I was always hungry. Like, always. I mean, I'm still mostly hungry all of the time. Like, that's not really changed. But especially as a teenager, my mum was getting annoyed at me. Like, Mum, I'm starving. She's like, you're not starving. People on documentaries are starving. I'm like, yeah, but this is how it starts. We don't sort this out now. Who knows where this could end? Anyway, she'd get annoyed at me. And she'd just throw carbohydrates at me. Like, it didn't matter what time of day. She was like, just have some bread. Nothing on it. She just like, have some bread. She's still a bit like that now, to be honest. Just wander in to see my parents. She just throws garlic bread at me, you know. But she was just like, just have some bread. Just fill yourself up. Nothing special. It's just going to see you through. And so for me, when I read this, give me today I'm daily bread. I haven't got my list of all the things I might want. God's not a cosmic vending machine. I'm not coming at him with all my list of, I'd like that. Give me today my daily bread. Get me through today. Just what I need. Not necessarily what I want, but what I need for today. I think it's interesting. God says, give me today my daily bread. There's a wonderful story in the Old Testament. The people are hungry. They cry out for food. And God gives them bread from heaven. Well, I say he gives them bread from heaven. And if you're Welsh, try and stop yourself singing that song now. But anyway, It's not bread from heaven. If you read it carefully, he gives them ingredients to make their own bread. And they grind up and turn it into bread. Because sometimes God doesn't give us the bread. He gives us the ingredients and we have to make it. I think there's an important point there. I don't think it was like ready, steady, cook. Where there's just like plastic bags dropping and then the Israelites had to divide themselves into red peppers and, is it green peppers? I don't know. Some of you have never no idea what I'm talking about for ready, steady, cook. That's fine. We'll move on. What I'm saying is that God gave them the ingredients to bake bread for that day. Some of them got greedy. And they would try and take more than they needed for that day, and it went moldy. To teach him a lesson. And what was that lesson? That you can't binge on God. You can't binge on God. You've got to come back tomorrow. You can get what you need for today. Tomorrow you're going to have to come back. Because it's a relationship. With my wife, I'm not about right, I'll give you 3 hours now, and I'll see you again in a month. That'll do. It's not how relationships work. Give me today my daily bread. Come back to me tomorrow. I'll have something for you tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. I'll have something for you tomorrow. Give me today my daily bread. I think money controls us in 3 ways. Desire, debt, and decisions. Some people are just so greedy. What do you need? I'll just need more. What do you need? I just need more. Some of us, we need to learn it's our daily bread. You can't binge on it. You can't take more than you. Some of us, it's decisions. We're so close to the breadline that every decision we make, we're always stressed about money. We're always thinking about money. We're always thinking about how much it costs. And God says, I'm going to give you today what you need for today. So you can relax in that. Some of us, it's debt because we're too busy paying today because of what we did yesterday or the day before. God says, no, there's a rhythm of provision. There's enough for today. Then come back tomorrow. It speaks to our attitude to money, but it also speaks to our attitude of our relationship with him. It speaks to so much about where we get our comfort from, where we put our identity. Give me today my daily bread. What do you need for today? Come back tomorrow. And forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. By this point in the prayer, I'm always a bit convicted. I started off and I was like, and then I started thinking, where am I using my breath? And I'm convicted of all the times that I've criticized. I've brought division. I've put people down. I told that snarky joke. What have I used my breath for? Then I've thought about the times I've built my kingdom, the times I've been selfish, and I'm convicted by that. And I'm like, the times I did. And so I get to this point in the prayer, and I can't help but say, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me my sins. I'm sorry. God has forgiveness for you. It says, you got forgiveness as we forgive those who sin against us. You've probably heard the story of the monkey trap, but I love the story of the monkey trap. And the monkey trap was very simple. Back in the olden days, when people were trying to trap monkeys, it was tricky because they were very fast. And so the smart people thought, I know how to trap a monkey. And they'd take like a coconut or some kind of spherical thing, and they'd cut a tiny hole in it. You might have heard this story, how you trap a monkey. A tiny hole in the coconut or in the spherical device, and inside it, they would put a nut. And the monkey would be running around, and then they'd see the nut inside the coconut, and they'd put their hand in, they'd grab the nut. And then they couldn't get their hand out because they were holding the nut. And all their monkey friends would come over and say, come on, we got to go now. Like, no, I'm stuck. No, we got to go. The hunter's coming, you're stuck. Come on, we got to go. No, I can't. And you can imagine all their monkey friends being like, just let go of the nut. But they couldn't. And this is how they would catch the monkeys. It would kill them because they wouldn't let go of the nut. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And my guess is that for many of us here this morning, there's something we're holding on. There's something we're holding on to that, if we're honest, it's just killing us. It's trapping us. And all our friends, they're just like, let go of it. Let it go. That resentment you've got, it was 10 years ago. Move on. That anger you've got against that other person, that anger you've got against yourself, that you cling on to, just let it go and find the freedom. Because God says there's forgiveness for you, but if you want to receive something, you can't do it with a closed fist. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. If you want to receive something from God, can I suggest that first of all, you let go of whatever it is you're holding on to. The bitterness and the anger you have against them, the bitter and anger that you have against yourself. And realize you're free, that you're forgiven, and you're loved. Lead us not into temptation. And Christians throughout the ages have added, and deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. A few questions to finish. What are you doing with your eyes? Where are you putting your mind's eye? Our Father in heaven. Can I suggest that if you're too obsessed with all the things around you, maybe you need to take a minute to stop, fix your eyes on a God who is above you and a God who is all around you. A God who is in heaven and a God who is as close to you as the air that you breathe. What are you doing with your eyes? What are you doing with your mouth and your lungs? How are you using the breath that God has given you? Are you honoring the name? What are you doing with your arms and your strength and your muscles? Whose kingdom are you building this week? Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the kingdom, Jesus. As we bring heaven down to earth. What are you doing with your stomach? Where do you feed yourself from? Are you being greedy and taking too much? Are you forgetting to come back to God for what he's got for you today? Forgive us today our daily bread. And what are you doing with your hands? What do you need to let go of? Because we all know it's only you who is killing. Let go of it and receive the forgiveness and the grace and the mercy. For yours is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.